Hey everybody, Chevy, nobody else's auto. We've got a lot of truck cabs to look at tonight. Had a bunch of cabs come in, all off of one place. Good friend of ours that we lost last year, and was honored that his family thought of calling me as they started thinning things down. We were able to work out a deal, and we added a lot of his inventory to our inventory. So I appreciate them thinking of me and working out a deal on all these truck cabs. So let's take a look at a few of them tonight. Starting off with this one right here. This is a 48 to 50 era Ford. Some of these came off of pickups, some of these came off of big trucks. This one kind of had, they're pretty rough, but had unique vent visors on it, had clearance lights on it. Kind of a fancy truck in its particular day. Even had a spotlight on it. And this is actually, believe it or not, check this out. It's a factory Ford spotlight. So kind of some cool stuff on this one. Actually, we've got an emblem over here. This actually did come off of an F1. We've still got the F1 emblem over here. And was apparently some sort of a service truck. We can see how it did have some sort of badging or something on it at one point in time. Take a peek inside of here. Here's the other vent visor. It managed to survive a little better than the other side did. And this cab's got a little bit of rust in it, but most of the cabs in my area structurally are still pretty good. We get a little bit of rust in cab corners, floor corners, things like that, but typically most of our structure stuff is pretty good around here. Next one, this is a 68 to 72 era Ford truck cab. Mirror had chevrons on it, kind of interesting looking. Doors and everything all still here. Some rust in the cab corners on this particular one. But we can head over here to the driver's side. And this one still has some vines in it here hanging out of the, stuck out of the door. But inside, intact. The dash is there, the radio's there, the heater controls are there. And we've got a super cool CB still hanging under the dash in this particular one. Looks like it was a Regency, maybe. We'll get in here and see if it... Regency brand. CB that somebody put in this old Ford pickup. Back in the day, pretty common, especially with farmers and things like that. Prior to cell phones, texting, those CB radios, super important to keeping the farm rolling and making headway during harvest and things like that. The next cab we've got here, old Chevrolet 52, 53 era. This actually was a push button vent window cab. Push button door handles used after 51. Vent window started in 51, but 51 still had turn downs from what I've always been told. There again, inside this old truck cab, dash is still here, windshield garnish is still here. Those are difficult to find pieces. So lots of little bits and pieces left on this old Chevrolet cab as well. Up next, another 48 to 52 era Ford. This one came off of an F2 pickup. This old Ford actually only had one wiper, factory delete plug on the other side, so it didn't even have a passenger side wiper. Kind of crazy to realize what were actually options back in those days. Sun visors were options, even heaters, believe it or not, were options. This particular old Ford here, there again still has a lot of the dash pieces and things like that in it as well. The last cab in this row, before we move over to the next batch of cabs that came in on this deal, another 53 to 55 era Ford. Once again, the dash stuff is still here. The heater stuff is still there. So a lot of little bits and pieces left on this old cab as well. On top of the fact that, like I said, most of my cabs in this era are structurally in pretty good shape. I do try to keep these things up off the ground. These are on pallets. The next batch I have not put up on pallets yet, but I do typically try to store them that way. There you go, we got another little branch that grew right through the little old clearance light hole. Kind of weird how trees and weeds do that sometimes, but they sure do it. Let's head on up over this way to the next batch of cabs that came in on this deal. As we head up there, we'll check out some of these other ones we've got sitting around. Except as of right now, we've got probably well over 100 cabs that are already off of trucks sitting here ready to go. Fords, Chevys, I've got a lot of beds that are already off, ready to go. I've got a lot of new takeoff beds going back into the 80s on some of this stuff. More Chevrolet stuff here, 55 to 59 cab. These couple rows right through here, all 48 to 53 era GM cabs. We'll cut across through some more of these as we head up to these other cabs. Square body stuff, pickup beds. Internationals. I've got like 75 international trucks here. Diamond T cabs. More beds. And we'll swing up here around this corner to this batch of cabs that just came in from the same estate. Have not got these put away yet. They're still sitting here right on the corner. But we'll start off with a 48 to 50 era Chevy 5 window. As we see, this does have turn down vents or turn down handles and no vent windows in this particular truck. So this was the earlier version of that Chevy truck. Once again, we see the dash pieces there, windshield moldings there. Set of bucket seats that I'm not really sure what those came out of. Look over here and they look kind of like maybe a Mopar type bucket seat. Not really sure what those were when I try to identify those. We see this was a custom cab, did have the stainless around the windshield as well, so this was a little bit fancier one. Behind this Chevy, we've got kind of a unique cab. Another cab that I didn't have here. This is a 54, 55 era Dodge. When they changed the body style in 54. However, this is a 5 window. So I don't have a lot of this 54 to 55 era as well anyway, but this is actually a 5 window, job rated 54, 55 era Dodge truck. We can see where it used to have the job rated on it. And this has a very unique mirror. This mirror actually fits right around that bracket. I don't know if somebody made that or if that was the way it was supposed to be. So that's kind of a different cab that you don't see every day. Over here on this side of the Dodge, once again, it's got the door handles. It's got that same style of mirror on it. And the dash cluster's gone out of this one. It does still have a few dash pieces in it, but the cluster is gone out of this whole 5 window Dodge. Next to the Dodge, we've got another Ford here. This one would be a 51, 52 era Ford. We can see by the differences in the dash, the 48 to 50 still had a kind of a rectangle type cluster with a rounded end. 51, 52, 2 round gauges with the stainless trim around the speaker grill and where the radio would have been. We do see this one did have a heater in it as well. And this one actually has GM A-body bucket seats in it, like 69 to 72 era GM A-body buckets that somebody retrofitted into this old Ford cab. One more out of this batch, once again a Ford. This one, another 51 to 52. We can see how the layout of this dash is just like the other one with the trim around it, the 2 round gauges. So this one also a 51, 52 era Ford truck cab. Kind of some interesting features about this one. This one actually was apparently at a John Deere dealer at some point. We have the remnants of the old John Deere stickers on them. There was some other company over here, Charles Holme, maybe that said contractors, Charles Holme Contracting maybe. Not really sure. It looks like this thing, actually looks like there's even a set of letters under that one. So this truck may have led multiple different lives. Last one being, since the John Deere sticker is on the top, at the local John Deere dealership. I believe we still have that on the other side as well. Yep, we do still have the remnants of the John Deere sticker on this side. Now this truck, I assume this was off of a larger truck, like a medium duty. There's a lot of interesting things about this truck. Not sure what all these brackets are for here on the back of the cab. Never seen those before. Looks like it had air horns on it. We have these brackets here which are broken, but it appears like it had maybe air horns on it. And it has these big brackets on both doors. I assume these were maybe for like an extended mirror. Obviously this did have a mirror that would stick out here on the side, but these are some fairly heavy duty extra brackets that I assume were for bigger mirrors that stuck out even further, since this was probably on a bigger type truck. Now the cabs are all the same for a pickup to a big truck, but this one must have come off of a larger truck. We still have a clipboard up here on the dash, probably from when they were using this thing out making deliveries or something. Not really sure. But there again, like we've talked about on it before, that's one of the fun parts about dragging this old inventory in, checking it out, trying to learn a little bit about its history, and then sending it on down the road to the next guy for his project so that it can live once again. So there again, a pretty good group of cabs we added to our inventory here. Like I said, already well over 100 of them off on the ground and ready to go. And definitely appreciate our friends, family thinking of me as they started thinning things down after we lost him last year. So appreciate that as well. So if you like this old stuff, you got any questions about it, just give me a shout, 620-786-4428. If you got any questions about parts or cars or cabs or projects, with 2,000 cars and trucks here on the ground at Nobody Else's Auto, we've got a lot of inventory. So give me a short call, talk about what you're looking for a project or your particular project, year, make, model, body style, parts you're looking for, things like that. All super critical information for me to know if I've got something here that might be able to help you out. So if you like these old cars and trucks, be sure to check out the channel, Nobody Show. You'll definitely want to click that subscribe button. Check out some of the other videos. We've got a lot more cool stuff coming up. Big Ford fuel truck, Chevy Impala. We've had a ton of new inventory hitting the ground lately. We've got a lot more coming in. You're not going to want to miss any of it. So click that subscribe button, start hanging out with us. Check out some of our live stuff. We have a lot of fun on there as well. And thanks for watching this video, everybody. And we sure hope to see you soon on the next one.